future looks
This is the scene right now here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. What a beautiful scene it is. You see the Washington Monument, the National Mall. It was pretty jam-packed today, especially around the Lincoln Memorial, but that's Capitol Hill, where on Tuesday at noon Eastern, the new president of the United States will be sworn in. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer reporting here from the Newseum, right atop Pennsylvania Avenue with the U.S. Capitol behind us. Anderson Cooper is here together with the best political team on television. Soledad O'Brien, let's introduce everyone right now. Busy day out on the National Mall. And David Gergen, our senior political analyst. It was a day that saw a lot of serious talk, especially by the president-elect Anderson, but also entertainers.
And a day that saw the enthusiasm in this city only growing. More and more people are pouring into the city. There were hundreds of thousands of people, not just the hundreds of thousands packed shoulder to shoulder around the Lincoln Memorial to watch the performers and to listen to Barack Obama, but also just people coming, even people who didn't go to the concert, people just milling around, wanting to soak up the atmosphere in Washington. It is an exciting time, and today was an extraordinary exciting day. And over the next hour, we're going to show you a complete recap of what happened today, and we're going to recap the entire speech of Barack Obama gave. We will play it in its entirety later on in this program, but we want to give you just a little bit of Barack Obama, some of the words that he spoke today to a crowd of hundreds of thousands of people. Take a look.
As I prepare to assume the presidency, yours are the voices I will take with me every day when I walk into that Oval Office. The voices of men and women who have different stories, but hold common hopes, who ask only for what was promised us as Americans, that we might make of our lives what we will and see our children climb higher than we did. It is this thread that binds us together in common effort, that runs through every memorial on this mall, that connects us to all those who struggled and sacrificed and stood here before. It is how this nation has overcome the greatest differences and the longest odds, because there is no obstacle that can stand in the way of millions of voices calling for change. That is the belief with which we began this campaign, and that is how we will overcome what ails us now. There is no doubt that our road will be long, that our climb will be steep, but never forget that the true character of our nation is revealed not during times of comfort and ease, but by the right we do when the moment is hard. I ask you to help reveal that character once more, and together we can carry forward as one nation and one people the legacy of our forefathers that we celebrate today.
As I said, we'll be playing Barack Obama's entire address later tonight. It's about 6 minutes long. I was out on the mall throughout this concert, very close to the Capitol, and when a lot of the performers were on stage, people were just kind of walking around, not paying attention. I can tell you, as soon as Barack Obama went on that stage and began to speak, everybody around where I was stopped and watched a Jumbotron screen to listen to what he had to tell you, his entire address, as I said, later on. Chris Lawrence was down on the mall all day today talking to people. Chris, people from all around the world are descending on Washington, D.C., and incredibly excited to be here.
Anderson, it was just amazing to be in the middle of some of these crowds. You know, most of these folks, they don't have tickets to the big fancy balls. They're not going to be up close at the swearing-in ceremony. But today was their chance to stand there near the place where people like Tom Hanks and Tiger Woods were, to really feel like this was their chance to really be a part of all this.
They're some of the biggest superstars in the world, but for once, they were not the centers of attention. From U2 to Usher, they came to applaud the future First Family. People are expecting the swearing in to be the moment, but facing the Washington Monument, Barack Obama recalled,
directly in front of us is a pool that still reflects the dream of a king and the glory of a people who marched and bled so that their children might be judged by their character's content.
Watching Obama stand before Lincoln was, for some, overwhelming.
I've been crying. I may start crying again. It is the most amazing time of my life.
Black, white, young, old, foreigners and Americans. Massive crowds of people marched across the National Mall heading for the concert.
It's a dream come true because, for one thing, you remember the hurt. You remember when people couldn't walk together. It's like I didn't think I would live to see this coming.
Come on up for the ride.
Anywhere else, it would have cost a family thousands of dollars to hear all these stars live. That made the long walks and waiting well worth it.
You hear it, you feel the cold, you feel the excitement. You're part of a bigger community.
And that is the main reason why everybody was telling us why they came here. You know, you hear the complaints about, oh, you know, it's going to be so cold, the crowds are going to be so large. That's why people are here. They want to be in that. They want to rub shoulders with each other. They want to look each other in the eye. They want to hear other people's stories about where they came from and why they came. You know, it's something about being a part of something larger than yourself. I think that is just driving so many people here for the next couple days. Wolf, Anderson?
Yeah, Chris, I mean, that sense of community really down on the mall today was palpable, and people just kind of talking to each other. People, you know, and asking to, you know, have their picture taken. They would hand their camera to a complete stranger and say, here, take my picture, and they would switch back and forth. It was really, it was a remarkable experience.
And as we've been saying, folks are coming to Washington to be able to see years to come. They were here when Barack Obama was sworn in as President of the United States. Anderson, the day began when Joe Biden and Barack Obama went over across the river to Arlington National Cemetery to lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown. It was an emotional moment. Neither of these men spoke. This is when they later went to church. But over here you can see when they were at Arlington National Cemetery. It was a nice touch on this Sunday before the inauguration for them to make this journey. And then, as I said, they went to church, a private ceremony here in Washington. Soledad O'Brien, as you watch what's going on, set the scene for us as well, because tomorrow's a national holiday in the United States, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it's what a coincidence, or what a remarkable juxtaposition. Tomorrow, we remember Dr. Martin Luther King, and on Tuesday, Barack Obama becomes president.
Yeah, great timing, really, I guess is the way to put it. And for me, it's the, you know, it's that thread that kind of culminates in the fruition of, I think, part of the dream. I think it would be naive to say fully realizing Dr. Martin Luther King's dream, but it's been a remarkable moment. And you know, and you see Barack Obama has consistently, from the get-go, I was looking at some of his old speeches, when he was running for the Senate, would always reference Dr. Martin Luther King. I mean, it's not a new thing for him. Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, those are his heroes, even to the point where he'll echo the cadence in some of his speeches and the phraseology even. So it's you know, it's sort of fitting, really, that we're going to pay tribute to Dr. King tomorrow, what would be his 80th birthday, Dr. King's 80th birthday, and then we will inaugurate the first African-American president. But many people have said to me tonight, as I was walking around and going to some of the celebrations, they said, make sure you make the point, this is not a victory just for African-Americans. This is a victory for everyone, because it's a symbol of the promise of a country. It is not, hey, one group won, woohoo, that's not what it's about at all. And one of Martin Luther King's speechwriters, I had dinner with him tonight, told me that.
Don, you were there for much of the day out on the National Mall. You spoke to a lot of people. Was there a common theme that you heard?
I think the common theme really wasn't with speech. I think it's with what you feel. I think what we're feeling now is a general softening of America when it comes to opening up and listening to people and accepting people. And I think people now, at least the election of Barack Obama and his inauguration on Tuesday, sort of shows that America is finally putting its money and its heart where its Constitution is, and living up on those promises that this country was founded on. And then, you know, the culmination, as Soledad said, of a dream that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had, and that Barack Obama is now fulfilling. Barack Obama is looking back with these whistle-stop tours, learning from mentors, former presidents, Abraham Lincoln, but he's looking forward by doing that, by including and bringing everyone into the fold. So it's time for America to start delivering those promises, and I think that people think Barack Obama, the election, is doing that.
David Soledad talked about that often Barack Obama has used the words of Dr. Martin Luther King. I remember during the primaries, he gave that speech where he talked about the fierce urgency of now, which is a term that Dr. King used. And it was a turning point in the primaries. It was a speech that ignited an awful lot of people's passions for Barack Obama. He comes to power now on Tuesday at a time where, I mean, if there has ever been a fierce urgency of now, it is this day, this time.
This moment. And, we've had, Anderson, large crowds come here for Democratic inaugurals in the past. We've had large crowds for Republican inaugurals. I cannot remember a time when we've had a crowd, not only that is gigantic, but is as full of energy and as idealism and hope and diversity. I mean, there are so many African Americans here who are walking proudly today, and they're mixing in. I don't think we've had anything like this since the March on Washington in '63. I must say, I found that one of the most poignant moments today was reading about when he went to the 19th Street Baptist Church for a service this morning. They had two young boys who spoke, and one of them said, Martin Luther King walked so that Barack Obama could run, and the other said, Barack Obama ran so that all children can fly. That was a really
And that was coming off of what Dr. King said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't run, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. And I said that to you earlier, Anderson. It was amazing to see people from all over the world who were just there embracing each other.
Even people who were not citizens of the United States, but felt that they have a stake in what is happening here, that in some way Barack Obama has touched them and will change them as well as change this country.
Even if you watched and heard Barack Obama his speech, short to the point earlier today over at the Lincoln Memorial, you certainly will want to hear it a second time. We're going to play the entire speech for you. Certainly, if you didn't hear it the first time, you're going to want to see it. We're also going to do, Anderson, I think a lot of our viewers want to hear some of the entertainers, and we have permission to run some of that, even though it was an HBO production, our sister network. We're going to play some of the entertainers, including Bono. Let's go to commercial break right now with this little clip.
On this spot where we're standing, 46 years ago, Dr. King had a dream. On Tuesday, that dream comes to pass. One man come in the name of love. One man come and go. One man comes, he to justify. One to overthrow. In the name.
For me? Your favorite toy? I couldn't. You're gonna want Mr. Fuzzy Man even more now that we've discovered Beneful Playful Life. With real wholesome ingredients like beef, egg, and even oatmeal. Extra protein for strong muscles. So you're ready for anything. You think you're getting spoiled, but it's so good for you, too.
Beneful Playful Life. Another healthful, flavorful Beneful.
You can get a lot of water where you least expect it. Like in here. This detergent has very little cleaning ingredients. The rest is water. But with Tide, you get much more cleaning ingredients. More than twice as much. Tide. You pay for detergent at detergent. That's why there's no clean like Tide Clean.
On February 20th.
Who the hell are all these people in my house? She gotta go!
Medea is going to jail.
What you gonna do? Come on.
Now, the big house
Keep it up. I ain't scared of none of you.
is in big trouble.
I run this prison. I'm from the West End. I will come across this table and rip out your urethra tube.
Tyler Perry's Medea goes to jail.
You better go get that fool.
Rated PG-13. In theaters everywhere February 20th.
Larry King Monday night. Sean Combs, Seal, Tavis Smiley, and Hill Harper. It's an all-star lineup on the eve of President-elect Obama's inauguration. Larry King Live, CNN Monday night, 9 Eastern.
This is an intervention.
Okay.
We're worried because we want to get you off the DirecTV. You're not getting the most HD from DirecTV. You think you are, but you're not. You're illusional.
You want me to change from DirecTV to Comcast?
This is what you're getting with DirecTV. You know, not bad. This is what's on Comcast right now. All this HD. This is, I mean, this list is
endless almost.
Right? Are you ready to make the switch?
I'll change tomorrow.
Times are tough for small business.
You got to find ways to cut costs.
Without cutting corners. I mean, how are you supposed to do that?
I'll tell you how I did it.
I cut the phone company and switched to Comcast. Comcast Business Class.
My phone plan's better.
My internet's way faster. I cut costs.
Saved my business money.
And got way more.
Now I don't have a small business.
I have a fast.
Fast.
I have a fast business.
Call Comcast Business Class and turn your small business into a fast business.
CNN special coverage of the inauguration continues Monday.
In the course of our history, only a handful of generations have been asked to confront challenges as serious as the ones we face right now. Our nation is at war. Our economy is in crisis. Millions of Americans are losing their jobs and their homes. They're worried about how they'll afford college for their kids or pay the stack of bills on their kitchen table. And most of all, they're anxious and uncertain about the future, about whether this generation of Americans will be able to pass on what's best about this country to our children and their children. I won't pretend that meeting any one of these challenges will be easy. It will take more than a month or a year, and it will likely take many. Along the way, there will be setbacks and false starts, and days that test our resolve as a nation. But despite all this, despite the enormity of the task that lies ahead, I stand here today as hopeful as ever that the United States of America will endure, that it will prevail, that the dream of our founders will live on in our time.
Barack Obama speaking at the Lincoln Memorial earlier today, the symbolism of him speaking literally in the shadow, if you will, of Abraham Lincoln. Powerful symbol, Anderson, as we watch what's going on.
It was just remarkable symbolism all day. And to see, you know, when those cameras turned around and you saw what Barack Obama saw, which was just this sea of faces, of black and white, people from all over the world. It was a sight to behold. And we're going to show you the complete comments by Barack Obama later on in the program tonight.
And it was literally both sides of that reflecting pool, jam-packed, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people showed up to hear the president-elect of the United States. Our senior White House correspondent, Ed Henry, is getting some new information right now. Move into the White House for the Obamas. What are you picking up, Ed?
Well, Wolf, it's interesting. First of all, in terms of the ambitious agenda that the president-elect is trying to lay out for his first week, we're learning from top aides that on Wednesday he's going to convene his senior economic advisors here at the White House, try to put the financial crisis front and center immediately, ramp up his efforts to sell his recovery plan. Second, he's also talking on Wednesday about bringing in the military brass, try to get them to change the mission in Iraq, follow up on that campaign promise about removing all combat troops within 16 months. Third, there's also talk now from senior aides about getting involved early this week, involved in the Mideast crisis. Specifically, Senior Advisor David Axelrod today saying on State of the Union with John King that this could happen quickly, the potential to name at least one top envoy to the president to deal with the Mideast crisis. And finally, he's also looking at a whole range of potential executive orders to issue this first week in office. One to potentially close down the U.S. military prison at Guantanamo Bay. Another one they're looking at would raise the fuel efficiency of automobiles. So from international to domestic policy, they're looking at a whole range of issues, Wolf.
The challenges for this president-elect will be enormous once he gets sworn in. There's the other issue of this move. A lot of us remember 8 years ago, in the final days of the Clinton White House, there were some pranks that were left behind that caused a sort of a stir. I take it that the Bush White House, President Bush, has ordered no such pranks this time.
Yeah, I can tell you that senior Bush officials are telling me that they're not going to be ripping any O's off the keyboards as in Obama and pull any pranks like that. They say that it's very clear that this president, the outgoing president, will be furious if there are any pranks like that, because they feel that this transition has gone pretty smoothly. Both sides have been saying that first post 9/11 transition, even though it's going from Republican to Democratic hands, they don't want any sort of pranks like that, Anderson.
Yeah, that would be ugly. You know, Anderson, the most important thing I think that we heard from Barack Obama today, beyond all the lofty rhetoric, he says it's not weeks, not months,
years,
not a year, but years. Yeah. He says this economic crisis the country is now facing.
And he faces battles not just overseas foreign policy issues, but also right here at home on Capitol Hill, and not just with Republicans, but also with Democrats. Dana Bash is on the Hill now. Talk about some of that. Dana, it is not going to be smooth sailing in the days ahead.
Well, certainly the Democratic Congress wants to help him do his top goal, and that is an economic stimulus package. But they're also being very careful to hold his feet to the fire on some of his top campaign promises, in particular the promise that we heard so many times over and over again, Anderson, that he would repeal the Bush tax cut for the wealthiest Americans, those making more than $200,000 a year. Well, the House Speaker has said over and over and pressed again today about the fact that she does not really agree with the fact that Barack Obama has said, you know what, not so fast. I'm going to hold off on that promise. She says she wants that to happen, and she wants it to happen very soon. Listen to what she said today.
It's a drain on the economy, which has done nothing to grow our economy. Mind you, we're in a pretty bad shape. It has contributed enormously to the deficit.
So that really is the mantra that we are hearing from the House Speaker and many Democrats saying, you know what, this is one of the things that we really campaigned very hard on. We believe that having this tax cut for the wealthiest Americans is, as you just heard, draining the deficit. And we want to do this sometime soon. But Barack Obama is saying, hold off. That's not an accident, because he also wants to keep Republicans in the fold. And by, repealing that tax cut, that would definitely anger many Republicans, Anderson.
No doubt about that. Dana Bash reporting from the west front of the Capitol, where the inauguration is going to take place on Tuesday. A lot to talk about in the hour ahead. In addition to the complete speech by Barack Obama, we're going to talk about Martin Luther King Day celebrations tomorrow, what's going to be taking place. Also, Barack Obama and Joe Biden calling for a day of service. We'll take a look at that. We'll talk to our panel, best political team on television. And as we go to break, I just want to show you some of the people that we met today on the mall, some people who have come from all around the world. A lady who came from the Bahamas I talked to a couple of hours ago. Take a look.
40 years after Martin Luther King, I said it's the dream come true, because history is in the making and you need to be a part of history. I want to be a part of history. I was around when Martin Luther King was assassinated. I was around when he fought for equality, and this is the reality of it. And I think America should give itself a big pat on the back. America has come a long way.
It was tested. Tested again. The Kia Sedona was the first minivan to earn both the Insurance Institute's top safety pick and the government's 5-star crash safety rating in all 4 categories. The Kia Sedona. No other minivan has a higher safety rating.
The Kia Sedona, starting under $16,800 after $5,000 cash back.
So guess what? Again, when I least expected it, my asthma symptoms came back. So this time, my doctor gave me Symbicort to help control my asthma. It combines 2 medicines that help control inflammation and constriction. So I'm breathing more freely day and night, and that feels good to me. And Symbicort is an asthma controller that starts to open my airways within 15 minutes. Very unexpected. Symbicort will not replace a rescue inhaler for sudden symptoms and should not be taken more than twice a day. Symbicort contains formoterol. Medicines like formoterol may increase the chance of asthma-related, so it is not for people whose asthma is well controlled on other asthma medicines. See your doctor if your asthma does not improve or gets worse. I know Symbicort won't replace a rescue inhaler. It helps control my asthma and starts to open my airways within 15 minutes. Ask your doctor if Symbicort is right for you.
If you cannot afford your prescription, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
You love watching your money grow. At HSBC Direct, we love helping you grow it. That's why we're offering one of the highest rates, 6 times the national savings average. So get your skates on. Open an HSBC Direct online savings account today.
On Tuesday, experience Barack Obama's Inauguration Day with your friends on Facebook. Watch live on CNN.com. View comments and update your Facebook status all in one place. Be a part of history. Go to Facebook.com/CNN now to RSVP.
If you want to keep the cholesterol down, eat lots of garlic and you're good.
Actually found that garlic doesn't lower cholesterol. Exercise and cutting down on those fatty foods is your best bet.
I think I'm going with her this week.
This Tuesday at the inauguration, you can help CNN capture the moment Obama takes the oath. Your photo will help create a revolutionary interactive 3D image. Find out how you can be a part of the moment of the inauguration. Go to CNN.com/the moment.
NBA All-Star 2009 on TNT heads to the Valley of the Sun. Rivals join forces on rosters overflowing with talent. Watch new heroes emerge. All-Star 2009, live from Phoenix. Coverage begins February 13th exclusively on TNT.
We do know it's going to be a huge crowd on Tuesday when Barack Obama becomes the 44th president of the United States. 1 million, 2 million. We have no idea how many people will show up. Tom Foreman has been looking at this question, getting ready for that big moment on Tuesday. Security already tight throughout the Washington, D.C. area, Tom.
It sure is, Wolf. We take a look at our map here. We fly back, give you an idea of how tight it's going to be as this goes on. This is how many roads are going to be closed around this town. Unbelievable. All down the mall, all up here. Here's the White House, where Barack Obama is going to move in. All closed around there, all over here by the Lincoln Memorial, where the party was today. And look at this. These are all office buildings and government buildings. Huge numbers of places that will be affected by this. Nonetheless, many people are finding their way in already to have a good time. We look at some of the eye reports we received today. Over near the Capitol, look at this, a beautiful photograph of people gathered in that area. Quite a crowd for the day when there was this one party happening, but really a lot of part of the mall where nothing was going on. Further up, if we move up the way here, we can see this group up here, people having their own celebration with a MLK is smiling today sign from slavery to history. And then, of course, down by the Lincoln Memorial, we had a lot of folks who gathered down there. And you can see some of their photographs here. This one was by Elizabeth Rocket from up in Seattle. She showed people beginning to line up there for the event. Then if we move further down, you can see some other pictures of the people as they really gathered and became quite a crowd. And my favorite one, of course, was this one. This was from last night when the memorial was getting all set to go. I'll tell you what we don't have here, though, Wolf, and as much as I wish we did have it, this night up on the Potomac River, much further up here, not very far from where you and I live, a private party where George Bush said goodbye to much of his staff. Another momentous event happening on this very momentous week.
A nostalgic moment, no doubt, for the outgoing president of the United States. All right, Tom, thanks very much. We're going to continue to check back with you. Coming up, we're also going to take a closer look at tomorrow. Very important day here in the United States. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Soledad O'Brien's going to have special coverage throughout tomorrow. Don Lemon is here. We're going to continue our conversation on the history that is unfolding. There was terrific entertainment at the Lincoln Memorial. Let's leave this section right now with Will.i.am performing Bob Marley's One Love.
Then you only leave space, you discriminate, and to discriminate only generates hate. And when you hate, then you're bound to get irate. Yeah, man, this is what you demonstrate, and that's exactly how anger works and operates. Man, you gotta have love, but you set it straight. Take control of your mind and meditate. Let the soul gravitate to the...
So you've been doing a nice job out there helping people save money on car insurance.
Oh, thank you, sir.
But I think there are a few other things you can say about what a reliable company Geico is.
Right. Well, maybe our Geico's the third largest car insurance company in America. Nice tidbit there.
Exactly. And I've been thinking, looking a bit more businesslike might help too.
Oh, my. No, it's... What's the word?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you cent or more on car insurance.
Tim, I wanted to talk with you about my home equity loan.
Oh, sure, Karen.
I'm going with LendingTree instead.
Karen, please. How could you choose LendingTree over us?
Well, at LendingTree, I get all the terms up front, so I know there will be no surprises at closing. It makes me feel like they're really looking out for me.
But Karen, you work here.
Yeah. Awkward, isn't it?
Join the 20 million people who use LendingTree. When banks compete, you win.
In 2008, our search for truth took us from Wall Street to Afghanistan. We asked what it means to be black in America and investigated the battle lines of a planet in peril. We met heroes who fought genocide and honored everyday heroes. And we made history as we followed an historic race to the White House. In 2009, new questions will drive our search for truth. Wherever they take us, we're ready. Go.
CNN has all the events on CNN and CNN.com Live. The inauguration of Barack Obama, CNN Tuesday. Sponsored by Cisco.
Closed captioning brought to you by Meineke Car Care Center.
Let's go with the
basic package.
Good choice.
Meineke lets you choose your service, like oil changes starting at $19.95. At Meineke, you're always the driver.
On the ground below is a tribute to a generation that withstood war and depression. Men and women like my grandparents who toiled on bomber assembly lines and marched across Europe to free the world from tyranny's grasp. Directly in front of us is a pool that still reflects the dream of a king and the glory of a people who marched and bled so children might be judged by their character's content. And behind me, watching over the union he saved, sits the man who in so many ways made this day possible. And yet, as I stand here today, what gives me the greatest hope of all is not the stone and marble that surrounds us, but what fills the spaces in between. It is you.
Very shortly, we're going to be playing you the entire address by Barack Obama today. It runs about 6 minutes long. We want you to be able to hear it in its entirety. We're going to do that shortly. Soledad, it is incredible, though. I mean, if you were writing a book and in it you had that Dr. Martin Luther King's celebration is on Monday, and the first African-American president is going to be sworn in on Tuesday.
Sort of no one would believe you.
It would be too perfect. It would be
really
too much.
would. The timing is remarkable and also wonderful because there's so many people here who are celebrating the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and then staying so that they can also be part of the inauguration. So pretty incredible. We're going to have coverage on the air all day tomorrow, 9 to 4. I'll be on. And at noon, we're going to show the speech, the I Have a Dream speech, which was not called that. It was called Normalcy Never Again.
The entire speech.
The entire speech, all 17 minutes. It's very rare. The King family was incredibly gracious in sharing that with the world, frankly, and what a remarkable thing to go back and really take a look at what that speech was about. It was about economic empowerment and about America recognizing its promise. So it'll be a wonderful moment. We'll air that at 12 noon and then talk to one of Dr. King's speechwriters and close associates. Clarence Jones will sit down and talk about that moment and writing that speech. Really excited about that. But of course, tonight, we're going to unveil another pretty amazing mini documentary. Antoine Fuqua, the director, was kind enough to put together for us a look at MLK to today. That was his assignment, and he said he was fearful. He didn't want to mess it up. And he said once he realized that the story of both MLK and Barack Obama was not about them themselves, but the people around them, he felt he found his voice and his vision. So without any further ado, we will unveil for you from MLK to today. Take a look.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was but 26 years old when he led a bus boycott in Montgomery that mobilized a movement. It's a powerful reminder of the debt that we all owe to those who marched for us and fought for us and stood up on our behalf. The sacrifices that were made for us by those we never knew, and of the giants whose shoulders I stand on here today.
It is that American spirit, that American promise, that pushes us forward even when the path is uncertain, that binds us together in spite of our differences, that makes us fix our eye not on what is seen, but what is unseen, that better place around the bend. A promise that has led immigrants to cross oceans and pioneers to travel west, a promise that led workers to picket lines and women to reach for the ballot. It is that promise that 45 years ago today brought Americans from every corner of this land to stand together on a mall in Washington before Lincoln's memorial and hear a young preacher from Georgia speak of his dream. The men and women who gathered there could have heard many things. They could have heard words of anger and discord. They could have been told to succumb to the fear and frustrations of so many dreams deferred. But what the people heard instead, people of every creed and color, from every walk of life, is that in America, our destiny is inextricably linked. That together, our dreams can be won. God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
From MLK to today, from the director Anton Fuqua, really remarkable, did a wonderful job. He told me how nervous he was because he thought this could be the most, this is a man who directs major Hollywood films.
Training Day.
Was one of many, and he said the idea that this was such an important assignment that he was really nervous about. It was interesting. I was talking to Clarence Jones, who was one of Martin Luther King's close associates, and he said when the people in Birmingham saw those pictures of the fire hoses, people in Birmingham, that took place in Birmingham, and they saw those pictures of the beatings and the fire hoses, they called him in, they said, this is not us. We are not this. Martin Luther King very much believed in the goodness of all people, to change. And that was the people in Birmingham said, these pictures aren't us, we're going to change.
Just watching that, I think back to Gordon Parks, who was the first African-American photographer of Life magazine, first African-American to direct a Hollywood film, who passed away about 2 years ago. He was a great friend of my family's, and sort of wish he was here to see this day, because he would have been extraordinarily moved by it as well.
I can only imagine what being an African-American, right, and the son of an African-American woman who sat at lunch counters and who rode the back of the bus. She's sitting at home tonight, I'm sure, watching these pictures and watching me on television. I'm sure she has tears in her eyes. Right after the election, she called me on the phone and she said, this makes everything, every bus that I had to sit on the back of, every lunch counter that I got kicked out of, this makes it okay to see that the country is now making a change, and to watch these images, and to having lived in Birmingham and knowing that, yes, it is those people, but it's not those folks right now. So it's a very moving moment for me.
If you think you know the I Have a Dream speech, which everyone sort of says, oh, well, I've seen it before, you know, they've seen a few seconds of it. They have not seen the thing in its entirety, and tomorrow at 12 they're going to be able to. And
I'm excited about that.
At noon Eastern, let's remember,
Eastern,
9 a.m. out on the West Coast. It's something that I think everyone should try to watch
and
if
sit
at all
down.
possible.
Sit 'em down.
Because the words
for the whole day,
the words that he spoke back then still resonate very powerfully today, and have clearly influenced not only his generation, this generation, but future generations to come. And I want David Gergen to weigh in as well, because you had a very different growing up in the segregated South of North Carolina.
Well, I did, and I was involved in civil rights during that period. But I must tell you, it was there was a sense among whites. First of all, that segregation was what blacks wanted, that this was a better way to live for both sides. And in addition to Martin Luther King, I think we owe an enormous debt to those young men and women who got on buses and went all over the South and had their buses shaking, got out and got beaten up on Pettus Bridge like John Lewis did. They really changed this country. And you know, on an evening like this, I think it's also appropriate to remember that, and one of the reasons it's so important to have a president like Barack Obama is that Lyndon Johnson played an important role in opening some of those doors too in the White House. It was the grassroots movement that King ignited, along with Joseph Ladders, that helped. But Johnson had to get the legislation passed. The civil rights bills of 64, 65 were monuments, and we often remember Lyndon Johnson for the Vietnam War, but he also ought to be remembered when presidents do good deeds like that. And that's why this is the Obama inauguration is a time when we can remember not only Lincoln and not only King, but so many Americans who have contributed.
And it's a point Soledad made, I think, yesterday, that so many people whose names will never be known, so many people whose faces will never be seen, who marched alongside, but never got the recognition that they deserve. And we know some of the giants of the movement, but there were foot soldiers as well. And tomorrow we remember them throughout.
Some of the same foot soldiers who were there back in '63, back on the mall.
You know what? It doesn't even go back that far. Tonight I interviewed Michelle Obama's former college roommate, whose mother did not want her to live Obama. She didn't want her living with a black person. And she went to Princeton and said, you know what, I don't want my daughter living with her, and to get her out of the dorm. And her roommate, her former roommate, and her mother today feel sorry for what they did and now believe that we should expand the conversation and open up a little bit. So, you know, it's not even that far back. Things are changing.
We've got to take a short break. We're going to continue this conversation, though. When we come back, we're not only this conversation, but we're also going to play the Barack Obama's entire speech from today. And as we leave to go to this commercial break, some more of the performers from today at the Lincoln Memorial, Stevie Wonder, Shakira, and Usher. We'll be right back.
The sun used to make our outdoor deck and patio space so hot and uncomfortable, we couldn't use it.
But then we discovered the Sunsetter retractable awning.
It provides instant protection from the sun's harmful rays.
It keeps our patio about 20 degrees cooler.
But now you can get your Sunsetter for as little as $499 when you call now to get this $200 discount certificate and free awning idea kit.
Call now for your free awning idea kit and $200 discount certificate.
1-800-492-4211.
My competition sells this electric fireplace for $720. That's just absurd. My hottie is only $399 in your choice of 4 finishes.
Ladies, we love our hotties, don't we?
Safe for children and pets and cool to the touch.
With or without heat.
And they're remote controlled.
Great ambiance, and they look so real.
No gas, no cleaning.
And you don't have to send your man up to the forest to go chop that lumber. Bob's Hotties, get them while they're hot.
Namco, America's largest pool, patio, and game room superstore, announces its January closeout pool sale. Take 40% off select 2008 models. Save up to $1,800. Hurry in while supplies last and beat the 2009 price increase. This week's insane deal. 24-foot Oasis resin pool. Regular price $29.99.99. Now 60% off. Only $11.99.99. You save $1,800. Hurry in today. Only 31 available at this price. Get ready for the best backyard staycation ever. No payment, no interest, no money down till 2010. See store for details. Visit NamcoPool.com for store locations and weekly specials.
Inauguration Celebration Countdown. Larry King Live, CNN Monday night, 9 Eastern.
Unlock a magical world where all your cat's favorite flavors, including real carnation milk, come alive. Frisky's feline favorites. Feed the senses.
It's gotta be in here somewhere.
Got a real storage problem? Call the Real Storage Experts. Call Public Storage at 1-888-44-STORE to get your first month for just $1. We can solve almost any storage problem with large and small units, moving supplies, and truck rentals, and more locations than anyone else. Call 1-888-44-STORE or click to get your first month for just $1 at your nearby Public Storage. The Real Storage Experts.
On this Sunday, the Sunday before he becomes president of the United States, Barack Obama spent some time at the Lincoln Memorial before hundreds of thousands of people who gathered there, and he decided he wanted to speak, and he did. This in its entirety, the speech of Barack Obama today.
Hello, America. I want to thank all the speakers and performers today for bringing us through song and through words just what it is that we love about America. I want to thank all of you for braving the cold and the crowds and traveling, in some cases, thousands of miles to join us here today. Welcome to Washington. and welcome to this celebration of American renewal. In the course of our history, only a handful of generations have been asked to confront challenges as serious as the ones we face right now. Our nation is at war. Our economy is in crisis. Millions of Americans are losing their jobs and their homes. They're worried about how they'll afford college for their kids or pay the stack of bills on their kitchen table. And most of all, they are anxious and uncertain about the future, about whether this generation of Americans will be able to pass on what's about this country to our children and their children. I won't pretend that meeting any one of these challenges will be easy. It will take more than a month or a year, and it will likely take many. Along the way, there will be setbacks and false starts, and days that test our resolve as a nation. But despite all this, despite the enormity of the task that lies ahead, I stand here today as hopeful as ever that the United States of America will endure, that it will prevail, that the dream of our founders will live on in our time. What gives me hope is what I see when I look out across this mall. These monuments are chiseled, those unlikely stories that affirm our unyielding faith. A faith that anything is possible in America. Rising before us stands a memorial to a man who led a small band of farmers and shopkeepers in revolution against the army of an empire, all for the sake of an idea. On the ground below is a tribute to a generation that withstood war and depression. Men and women like my grandparents who toiled on bomber assembly lines and marched across Europe to free the world from tyranny's grasp. Directly in front of us is a pool that still reflects the dream of a king and the glory of a people who marched and bled so that their children might be judged by their character's content. And behind me, watching over the union he saved, sits the man who in so many ways made this day possible. And yet, as I stand here today, what gives me the greatest hope of all is not the stone and marble that surrounds us, but what fills the spaces in between. It is you, Americans of every race and region and station, who came here because you believe in what this country can be and because you want to help us get there. It's the same thing that gave me hope from the day we began this campaign for the presidency nearly 2 years ago. A belief that if we could just recognize ourselves in one another, bring everybody together, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Latino, Asian, and Native, black and white, gay and straight, disabled and not, then not only would we restore hope and opportunity in places that yearn for both, but maybe, just maybe, we might perfect our union in the process. This is what I believed, but you made this belief real. You proved once more that people who love this country can change it. And as I prepare to assume the presidency, yours are the voices I will take with me every day when I walk into that Oval Office. The voices of men and women who have different stories, but hold common hopes, who ask only for what was promised us as Americans, that we might make of our lives what we will, and see our children climb higher than we did. It is this thread that binds us together in common effort, that runs through every memorial on this mall, that connects us to all those who struggled and sacrificed and stood here before. It is how this nation has overcome the greatest differences and the longest odds, because there is no obstacle that can stand in the way of millions of voices calling for change. That is the belief with which we began this campaign, and that is how we will overcome what ails us now. There is no doubt that our road will be long, that our climb will be steep, but never forget that the true character of our nation is revealed not during times of comfort and ease, but by the right we do when the moment is hard. I ask you to help reveal that character once more. And together, we can carry forward as one nation and one people the legacy of our forefathers that we celebrate today. Thank you, America. God bless you.
On this Sunday, before he becomes president of the United States, Barack Obama speaking earlier today over at the Lincoln Memorial. We'll take another very short break, and we'll listen to the boss, Bruce Springsteen. He performed at the Lincoln Memorial among this all-star cast on this day of tribute.
Bells ringing filled the air. I was wearing the cross of my calling. On wheels of fire, I come rolling down here. Come on up for the rising. Come on up, lay your hands in mine. Come on up for the rising. Come on up.
Now more than want to get the most for your money. Look no further than the mid-size 2008 Kia Sorento. A powerful V6 engine, 5-star safety rated, backed by an industry-leading warranty, and it's priced about $6,500 less than a Toyota Highlander V6. Or to put it another way, a year of college tuition less. The 2008 Kia Sorento. It's money well saved. The Kia Sorento, starting under $17,200 after $5,000 cash back.
So guess what? Again, when I least expected it, my asthma symptoms came back. So this time, my doctor gave me Symbicort to help control my asthma. It combines 2 medicines that help control inflammation and constriction. So I'm breathing more freely day and night, and that feels good to me. And Symbicort is an asthma controller that starts to open my airways within 15 minutes. Very unexpected. Symbicort will not replace a rescue inhaler for sudden symptoms and should not be taken more than twice a day. Symbicort contains formoterol. Things like formoterol may increase the chance of asthma-related death. So, it is not for people whose asthma is well controlled on other asthma medicines. See your doctor if your asthma does not improve or gets worse. I know Symbicort won't replace a rescue inhaler. It helps control my asthma and starts to open my airways within 15 minutes. Ask your doctor if Symbicort is right for you.
If you cannot afford your prescription, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
You love watching your money grow. At HSBC Direct, we love helping you grow it. That's why we're offering one of the highest rates, 6 times the national savings average. So get your skates on. Open an HSBC Direct online savings account today.
CNN special coverage of the inauguration continues Monday. Soledad O'Brien has special coverage for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, from MLK to today. It all leads up to the inauguration of Barack Obama. CNN Tuesday.
CNN, Barack Obama sworn in as our 44th president. At 7, a special No Bias, No Bull. At 9, a special AC 360. And at midnight, Larry King is live with a look at this historic day. Tuesday night, only on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by Meineke Car Care Center.
So what do you think?
Preferred package.
Good choice.
Meineke lets you choose your service, like oil changes starting in $19.95. At Meineke, you're always the driver.
We want to welcome back our viewers in the United States and around the world. It's going to be an exciting day tomorrow, Monday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in the United States. Tuesday, the big day, the inauguration of the president-elect Barack Obama, as well as the inauguration of Joe Biden, the vice president-elect. It's probably going to be a little bit warmer than it was yesterday, but it's still going to be cold. And you know what I've brought all of us? Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
You know, I was on her show. I don't know if you
yes,
noticed.
I saw you dancing on her show.
Yes.
Was that dancing?
When I was on her show, she was kind enough, because she's worried about all of us. She's kind enough to share some stuff to help us get through these days. And you see this, the Ellen DeGeneres, I don't know if she personally knitted this, Have Soledad try that.
David, I think
Anderson,
this has
you
your
can wear
name all over it.
hat I gave you for New Year's Eve.
This is for Soledad. I want our viewers to see she had these special Ellen DeGeneres earmuffs. Soledad, you want to try these on?
Of course I will.
Yeah, let's take a look
It looks
and see
like
how
they're
they look.
scotch taped on.
You know, they look like those old radios from the, remember the big ones from the 70s?
Quite warm, actually.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Wow.
Look at this.
Ellen gloves.
Lovely.
I think that's got
Don
you.
Lemon.
That's got you all
No,
over.
no, no.
I'll take
We've got something
I'll
for
take
David
him.
Gergen.
I'll take that.
And David
Thank you,
Gergen,
Ellen.
I just don't want you to feel left out because Ellen wanted to make sure all of us are warm, and we've got a special little flask. So
wait a minute.
This is going to keep all of us warm. Share that with David Gergen.
It's full, too.
And so,
You want to open that up? I just want to see if I can hold it with my mitt.
you know what? It might be cold and chilly on Tuesday, but for so many millions of people here in Washington, all over, around the world, it's going to be warm and cuddly and toasty. And no matter how cold it gets, people are going to be so excited. And a final quick thought as we get ready to wrap up what is clearly history in the making from you, David.
I think all of us here tonight just feel enormously privileged to be here and to be part of this. This is one of those moments you want to be an eyewitness to history, but I have a chance to talk about it this way. But I also feel, it's so important to remember what this young man is taking on. Just as we've all heard about, people have never seen it. They never expected this day to come. His economic advisors are saying, we never expected to see a time like this either, with zero interest rates, $20 trillion worth of wealth that's disappeared here, a collapsed market. This young man is taking all that on, and I think there are going to be a lot of prayers for him said in the next couple of days,
And
too.
a lot of prayers, a lot of tears are going to be. Tears of joy, Don.
Tears of joy. And, just to be honest and completely transparent, as an African American, I never thought that this would happen. And my family probably never thought that this would happen. Yes, you took the words right out of my mouth. We are privileged. I feel privileged to be in this position, to be able to report on an event like this and to be able to live to see the first African-American president. And I think, as I said in the beginning of the show, it puts our America's money and hearts where the Constitution is right now.
Soledad will have special coverage starting at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning till 4 p.m. Eastern. I'll be back in the Situation Room. You'll be back tomorrow night. You have a special show
starting at 9
coming
o'clock
up.
all the way through to midnight.
And then Tuesday, hours and hours and hours. But you know what? It'll zip right through because we'll be watching history. It's really an exciting moment. I want to thank everyone for joining us. All of our viewers in the United States and around the world, stay with CNN for complete coverage of the inauguration of Barack Obama.
Is my car insurance just right for me?
Did it cross-check 21 unique personal factors to help you get coverage that's right for you, and only you, like 21st Century Insurance?
Is my car insurance just right for me?
Does it offer you the right coverage at the right price that could save you hundreds, like 21st Century?
Is my car insurance just right for me?
Does it offer you extras, like 24-hour emergency road service at no additional cost, like 21st Century? If you're not getting all this from your car insurance, it's time to switch to 21st Century. Call 1-877-786-8314 or go to 21st.com. We cross-check 21 unique personal factors to help you get just the right protection at a price that's just right, too. Drivers who switch average of $300.
Is my car insurance just right for me?
Find out today. For a free quote, call 1-877-786-8314 or go to 21st.com. 21st Century Insurance. Just right, just for you.
Did you hear McDonald's has cappuccinos now?
McDonald's? Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I could shave this thing off my face.
Yeah, we don't have to call movies films anymore.
We could talk about football.
I like football. I like sitting and watching football.
I don't need these glasses. These are fake.
I do need mine. They're very real.
Also try McCafe Mochas, rich dark chocolate with freshly ground espresso beans and real steamed milk. It's all the coffee, hold the attitude. Now at McDonald's.
I almost bought a beret the other day.
Don't.
Happy New Year! Welcome to Progressive.com.
This place is hopping.
It's resolution season.
Well, my resolution? Save money.
Last year, millions of people visited Progressive.com, and those who switched saved a net $350.
No wonder it's like a party in here.
I wrote that.
Starting the new year with savings. Now that's progressive. Call or click today.
Campbell Brown.
No bias, no bull.
CNN, Monday night, 8 Eastern.
You love watching your money grow. At HSBC Direct, we love helping you grow it. That's why we're offering one of the highest rates, 6 times the national savings average. So get your skates on. Open an HSBC Direct online savings account today.
So, April.
Yeah?
You know your charger's still using energy when it's plugged into the wall, right?
Yeah, but that's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone.